wait a few seconds to welcome people. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm just waiting a bit before we start to let people have the chance to join us. Let me know if you can hear me in the comments. You should be able to, but you never know. Amazing. All right, I will give people one more minute to join us, and then I will start this concert. I hope everyone is doing well. Gonna wait a bit longer. All right. It's been a few minutes past 1. So I will begin. Welcome to the first of Caitlin's Cozy Concerts, the concert series where you can remain cozy at home and not catch COVID. Lots of C's. Thank you for spending the next hour or so with me. I hope you're doing well today. And I want to start every concert with a land acknowledgement. So I want to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of the St. Lawrence Iroquoians, the Mohawk, and the Haudenosaunee tribes. And the land we call Montreal is actually called Tiohtià:ke. I got this information from a really important website, which I have put the link in the description. And it's called nativeland.ca. And so you can find out which tribes the land you live on belongs to. So check out the description of this video for that link. And I'm going to talk a bit more about that later. I do want to tell you why I started this series, which will be every last Saturday of the month going forward. I was really inspired by friends of mine and all artists in general who have been doing live shows, virtual concerts, hangouts, queer panels, just all sorts of really cool things during this pandemic. Just to name a few, a friend of mine, Frédéric Alexandre Michaud, was doing, or is still doing a live show. Nick Burgess, I would watch as well. Cameron Esposito was doing some queer panels and stand-up comedy. Gabby Dunn was doing these queer film readings. So there's just all sorts of people that were inspiring me. And I really miss performing, especially with my friend Emilia in our duo Ensemble Camélia. And so I figured this was the safest and easiest way to connect with you all through music. I also used to do a lot of benefit concerts back in the day, so this kind of reminds me of that and brings back good memories. Another reason I wanted to do these concerts is to raise money for the Indigenous and Black communities of Montreal. So in the description, I have put my email address and PayPal information to encourage you to send me money, basically. 50% of all donations will be sent to Indigenous or Black people in need as a form of reparations. There's a Facebook group that I found out about a while back called Settlement Reparations for Indigenous People, Montreal and surrounding area. And so basically in that group, Indigenous people can post requesting financial help and settlers can send them money directly. Our governments have not even come close to doing enough for the health and safety of Indigenous communities, which is why we as individuals have to step up in many ways, but especially financially. And there's something else I really want to encourage you to do, which is a course that you can take for free through the University of Alberta. And I've left the link in the description. So basically you can watch videos, do readings, take quizzes, and this is part of the description that they've provided about the course. From an Indigenous perspective, this course explores key issues facing Indigenous peoples today from a historical and critical perspective, highlighting national and local Indigenous settler relations. So I will be alternating each month between the Settlement Facebook group and the Black Healing Fund, which I will talk about next time. So next month, I'll be sending money through that fund's GoFundMe. Again, email address, PayPal is in the description, but just so it's clear, my email address is caitlin.berger06@gmail.com, and my PayPal is, if I'm remembering correctly, paypal.me/CaitlinBergerFlute. So, you'll have one whole week from today to send me money, and then I will send off 50% to people who need the money. And honestly, any amount helps. Like, if you feel like you only have $2 to give, that is honestly fine. I won't be offended that it's only $2. Don't worry. Any amount truly helps. Of course, the other 50% will basically be to support my music career in general and the work I put into the concerts, which includes purchasing sheet music, getting my flute tuned up and cleaned, which needs to happen soon, buying proper equipment like microphones and more. So that's where your money would be going. If you send more than $10, I will send you back a link to a private music video with a fun song that I pre-recorded, and it'll be a different song each month. So make sure to leave your email address in the message section of the PayPal or e-transfer. Along with paying reparations, I'm committed to featuring at least one composer who is non-white and or non-male each concert. You can definitely send me suggestions or requests for pieces, and I'll see what I can do. But I'm very passionate about changing the classical music canon for the better. It doesn't have to be a static thing that's really just full of Mozart and Bach, as much as I love their music. There are just so many wonderful composers that should be more well known and have their music played more often. Finally, this is going to be the longest intro of any of the concerts. Finally, I want to announce the theme for this concert. There will be a different one each month, and today it is stories. So each piece I'll play today has a story behind it, either specified by the composer or in relation to myself. Please leave comments in the comment section. I'll be answering comments or questions throughout the concert, and I really want this to be a space where we can discuss important things and have fun and chat. Right now I'm staring at myself, which is weird. It's fine, but if I see you posting comments, that will help me feel like I'm not just completely alone, even though I'm physically alone in my room. Since it's my first time doing this, I apologize if there are any technical issues. Bear with me, we'll deal with things as we go. I will be uploading the live stream afterwards to my YouTube channel, and there will be a caption function there. Finalement, s'il y a des personnes qui ne parlent pas l'anglais, qui parlent juste le français, je peux traduire pour vous. Je suis pas très bonne, mais je vais essayer. Laissez-moi un commentaire et je vais voir ce que je peux faire. Okay, that was my spiel. So now, I'm very excited to introduce the first piece that I will play with my flute. Yes, I play flute. It is here, I promise. So the first piece that I am going to play is by a composer named Johannes Donjon, who was a flutist a long time ago, and he played in the Paris Opera. And he wrote a series of short pieces called Études de Salon, and they're for solo flute. So what I like about them is that most of them don't sound like traditional etudes or studies. Basically, an etude is a piece written for your instrument, and it's meant to have you work on a specific aspect of your playing. So it's often about technique, articulation, and sometimes etudes can sound very dry and square and not that fun, which is why typically you don't perform them, you would just practice them. But the Donjon etudes are not like that at all, which is why I programmed them. I'll be playing two for you today. So the first of the two is called Le Chant du Vent, which loosely translated is the Song of the Wind. You'll be able to hear a nice melody, but it keeps getting interrupted by this soft, low rumbling that's meant to emulate the sound of the wind. Let me know if you can hear that, or if that's what it sounds like to you. It does kind of sound like that to me. I have this very specific image when I play this, which is of Virginia Woolf, like walking down a path in the fall time, and she's like reading a book, but then like leaves keep blowing in her face, and she has to stop reading for a second and until the wind dies down. I don't know where that image came from, but that's what I imagine. So I'm gonna play this piece, and then let me know as I play what you think. But first I will take a drink of water because that was a lot of talking and I'm a little nervous. So that's what we're gonna do. And I will be also checking the comments, obviously. Elodie says, for those studying at UQAM, there's a class about femmes autochtones. It's super interesting and quite eye-opening. Also, she's saying that because I said I'm not that good in French, but that I shouldn't say that. That's funny. Thank you, Elodie. Okay, so here is Le Chant du Vent by Donjon. So that's that etude. Let me know if you heard the wind metaphor or like story. I should have mentioned that was the story behind it, is that it's sounds like wind. All right. We have another Donjon etude next because they're really, really nice. And this one is called Sérénade Étude. So there's a very short poem that is at the top of the page of music, and it's written in French, so I will read that, and then I have very loosely translated the poem in English. So I will first read you the French version that's written. So, sur le balcon où tu te penches, je veux monter. Effort perdu, il est trop haut, et tes mains blanches n'atteignent pas mes bras tendus. So, this is the loose translation that I have come up with. On the balcony where you are leaning, I want to climb up. Wasted efforts, it is too high, and your white hands can't reach my outstretched arms. Not entirely sure why we have to specify that this person is white, but that's white male artists for you. We have another comment. What's the comment? Rose. You heard the wind. Yes, thank you. Right? It's a nice etude. All right, so in the next one, in the Sérénade, it's full of these super large leaps. So you have high notes going to low notes, really low notes going to really high notes, basically in like every bar. And, I think surface level, it's trying to represent the outstretched arm that can't quite reach the person that they're trying to reach on the balcony. I feel like this could easily be a song with lyrics if it wasn't for the absurd range that is too wide for any singer, I would imagine. But it does sound like a serenade to me. It sounds like something that could be sung or played while this person is trying to get up on this balcony. We don't know why they can't use the front door. But yeah, so let me know what you think as I play. Serenade by Donjon. What do you think? Do you think that this person ended up reaching the balcony and reaching their loved one? I don't know. I feel like it's possible with how the music went, but I'll give you a second to let me know what you thought about that as I prepare the next piece. I forgot to say hi, Abby. I see you, Abby. All right. The third piece is one that doesn't have a specific story behind it from the composer, but I have a bit of a story in relation to it. So I'm going to be playing the Fantasy by Telemann, who was a German composer in the 1700s, so a long time ago. And he wrote a series of pieces for solo flute, which he called fantasies. There are 12 of them. And I worked on most of them with my teacher, Ariane Brisson, who is a phenomenal flutist and teacher, earlier this year. And the story behind this is that the way we worked on them really solidified my understanding of taking your time as a musician. Basically, I've always had to fight against the instinct to only do exactly what's written on the page and nothing more. My tendency is to rush and to kind of sound square and not very musical, because I just used to be so concerned with the notes on the page and doing exactly what the composer wrote. But the thing is, with these fantasies by Telemann, as much as you have to kind of search for a more Baroque sound, Baroque meaning back in the late 1600s and 1700s, back then the flutes were wooden, so they sounded very different from my metal flute, or just they're a specific kind of wooden flute. Anyways, so as much as we want to kind of access that kind of sound, we don't want to make Telemann sound like Strauss, for example, but there is still flexibility, and as a player you still have to sound like you're making music and not just playing notes, you know, which used to be a really big sore point of my playing for myself. So I decided to play one fantasy for each concert. So I want to play all 12 fantasies, which would come out to a year of concerts, one per month. So today I'm going to go in order. So I'm starting with the first one in A major. And it gives you a lot of opportunities to be playful with the tempo and with the length of notes and that sort of thing. And to just kind of take your time and be expressive, which is, you know, still working on that. There's always more to be done. There's always improvement that I could do. But these pieces have really pushed my progress as a musician. So I want to feature them each concert. So there are 2 movements in this fantasy, and I'll just briefly pause in between the 2. I'll just check for some comments first. No other comments. Thank you for watching again. If anyone popped in after my whole intro spiel, check the description for important points and links, namely the donation information, so you can send me money through e-transfer or PayPal. And if you send me more than $10, it could be like $10.03, I don't care. If you send more than $10, I will send you back a link to a really fun recording of a really nice song. So that's that, and I will play for you now the first of 12 fantasies by Telemann. That is the first of 12 fantasies that I will play. And because there's 12, it's nice that I'm doing the concerts monthly, because by the end it'll be a year of doing concerts and of completing all the fantasies. So that's kind of exciting. Oh, Michael, thank you. Thanks, Michael. I hope you've been well too. Thank you again for anyone that's tuning in. If you know someone that would like these concerts, I know solo flute isn't like the most exciting thing ever, but because of the world situation, it's just, you know, safest to play by myself. And personally, I really enjoy playing solo stuff because, like I was mentioning for the Telemann, that my tendency is to kind of rush and feel constrained by what's on the page. And so when I play, for example, just even with piano, as much as I adore that repertoire, it kind of adds a layer to my tendency of being a bit scared and of rushing and of not being as musical as I can be. So it is kind of nice for me to just be on my own and take my time. And if I need to take a split second longer for a breath, it just feels reassuring. So yes. All right, we are on the fourth piece of this program. And this next piece is by Hoover, who was an American composer and flutist, and she passed away 2 years ago this December. I played one of her other solo flute pieces 2 years ago this coming December in a school recital. And I really, really love her style of writing. She wrote a lot for flute and for woodwinds in general, and I just think the way she writes is just really great. So the piece I'll be playing for you is called Reflections, and she wrote a little explanation or story behind this piece, so I'm going to read you what she wrote. Reflections is a series of free variations on a short sequence from the ancient Norwegian Olavsfest in Nidaros. Most of it was written during a performing residency at Art Park near Niagara Falls, New York in 1982. I played for an hour out of doors twice a day, usually alone, but sometimes with mimes or storytellers. Each day I wrote a variation and performed it still in pencil sketch. Later that fall, I reordered the set and added a contrasting variation and a finale. So that is what Hoover wrote about this piece. So you'll hear the theme that she talks about at the beginning, which to me sounds really kind of sad and melancholy. And then you'll hear more and more variations on this theme until it morphs into completely new and different phrases of music that she has come up with. I just love how nice it feels on the flute. She obviously knew how to write for flute, given that she was a flutist herself, so that's great. And let me know your thoughts as I play. Any images that come up in your mind, any emotions that you think she was trying to convey with this. Oh yeah, I meant to show you. This is what the music looks like. So this is an example of sheet music that I purchased, first of all, because I have to, that's legally what you're supposed to do, but also because unfortunately a lot of the music that is in the public domain, meaning that it's free, I guess, I didn't look up the exact definition of that, but a lot of older music is mostly by white men, right? And so since I'm trying to feature not those people all the time, it obviously means that the music by women or people of any other ethnicity and race than white, their music tends to be more recent, which means, first of all, that the music sometimes is pretty hard to play because it might feature some extended techniques, some techniques that just take more time to learn. That's one thing. The other thing is that you 100% have to purchase the music to play it and learn it. You can't, anyways, you must purchase the music. So that means I'm going to have a lot of purchasing of sheet music to do in the next year, hopefully, of concerts, which is the other reason that, of course, I would love your support financially. And obviously watching this, I'm still going to do them. Even if I make $0, I will still keep doing these concerts. But just to kind of let you know, it's to support these composers. A lot of women composers, Black composers, any composers that aren't men and or white. A lot of them are still alive. So they need to be supported for the work that they do. All that to say, here is Reflections, Variations on a Medieval Norwegian Chant by Catherine Hoover. was some Catherine Hoover for you. Let me know what you think. Did it sound Norwegian? I don't really know what something Norwegian should sound like, but it sounds kind of medieval. Did you find? All right, we have one more piece left. And then you can go about your day. Okay, so this last piece is called Homeland. And it was composed by Loggins-Hull, who makes up half of the flute duo Flutetronics. Flutetronics is an awesome ensemble. So it's Loggins-Hull and Natalie Joachim. And they play a bit more pop / I'm not sure what the genre exactly would be, but they write their own music. They're super cool. 2 Black women from the United States. And so this piece, Homeland, Loggins-Hull, she has provided a very short, maybe poem or just a few lines of text to kind of give you the story behind it, right? Today's theme is stories. So this is what she has written underneath the title. When you are forced to leave your country in order to survive, when the people of your country are completely divided, when your country has been destroyed by a natural disaster, a human disaster, is home still home? I know it's a bit of a sad piece to finish with, but I think it's definitely worth playing and talking about. You will hear all sorts of interesting techniques in this piece. Most often you will hear that some notes sound a bit off, like maybe I'm super out of tune or I'm playing the wrong note, but no, it's intentional. It's on purpose. You might even hear the sound of an emergency siren, like an ambulance at one point. And there's quite a lot to unpack in this piece, and I want to know what you think before I give you my thoughts. This past Wednesday, I was on my friend Fred's live show, and I played this piece, and I kind of explained, the image I have when I play it. But the people in the comments had some really interesting images and thoughts and connections to it that I just hadn't thought of or considered. So that was really cool to see. So I'd like to play the piece for you first, see if anyone has any thoughts about it, and then I will give you my, basically the image I have in my mind as I play it. I'm just gonna set up the sheet music, talk amongst yourselves. For anyone who is just joining us, you can find all sorts of important points and things in the description of this video, namely that I'm accepting donations from now until next Saturday. 50% will go to supporting my career and the work that I'm doing with these concerts, and the other 50% will be given directly to an Indigenous person in need in the Montreal community specifically. So this last piece for today is Homeland by Loggins-Hull. was Homeland by Loggins-Hull. I'll wait a second in case anyone has any thoughts or images that come to mind when they were listening. It's a very evocative or provocative, I don't know, piece in the sense that it can bring up a lot of emotions or images, I find, mostly because of the techniques that she uses. So I'll let you know what I imagine when I play this piece. At the beginning and the end, when you hear that wavering of the note, I basically imagine a mother wailing. The word wailing really sticks in my head. Crying maybe for a lost child. And honestly, just directly makes me think of all of the undocumented people at the border of the United States, but also just, all refugees, immigrants, people in the world that are displaced from their home, but especially the undocumented people that are still locked in cages, separated from their parents and family. That's very directly what this piece makes me think of as I'm playing. I don't know if you heard the kind of like siren ambulance motif. I don't know if that was exactly specifically what she intended, but that's what I hear in certain parts. And there are moments of joy in the middle. There's a section that she wrote, some optimism. That was how she intended the player to play a certain section. But there's always that sound of danger or impending doom kind of that always comes after a section of relative hope. So anyways, that's the kind of image I have in my mind and the emotions that I feel when I'm playing this. I think it's a really beautiful piece. So this is the end of the program. I had planned to do an encore with accompaniment, but when I was testing the live stream feature on Facebook yesterday, the live stream cut at a certain point because I got a copyright strike because of the piece I wanted to end with, and I disputed it, but because I don't think it was appropriate. But anyways, I just don't want to risk losing the stream or anything like that, and so I'm not going to do that, even though it makes me sad, but it's okay. Maybe I'll save the piece that I was going to do the encore. I think I'll save it for a bonus video for future concerts for people who donate more than $10. I think that's what I'll do. So if you want to know the piece that I was going to play, make sure to donate and I will tell you, but otherwise I won't tell you, basically. Thank you so much for watching. Even people that might be watching this later, like when it's not live anymore, I definitely still appreciate that. And of course, I appreciate anyone who is watching and has been watching this whole hour. It means a lot to me. Again, you will have 1 week to send me your donations before I send 50% off to an Indigenous person in the Montreal community. After today, I will be uploading this live stream to my YouTube channel. You can just search my name on YouTube or go to my Facebook page profile, which you're basically on now, and there's a link to my YouTube channel. Make sure to mark your calendars for the next one. As I mentioned, this series will be the last Saturday of every month. So the next one is September 26th, and it's going to be the same sort of deal. It's going to be at 1 p.m. It's going to be live on my Facebook page. I'll make an event. And next month's theme, I'll let you know now, will be revisiting and reminiscing. I will obviously speak more about that when the time comes. But thank you so much for tuning in and leaving comments. I'll stay on for a little bit longer in case anyone has any thoughts about anything that I mentioned, any of the pieces I played. Again, make sure to check out the description of this video because it has all sorts of important things that I mentioned. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that, I'll just stick around for a little bit. Thank you, Abby. Thank you for watching. I want to reiterate that you should really go click the link for the Indigenous course through University of Alberta in the description. I started it this week, and I'm on week 3 of 12, and you can do it at your leisure. Like, it's your own pace, and again, it's free. So, barring any learning disabilities that you have, any sort of things that would prevent you from being able to take such a course, of course, that I understand. But if you're able to, there truly isn't any reason not to. There's only, information and knowledge to gain. I'm already blown away by everything that I've learned. So you kind of have to go take that course, is my final plea. Because as much as it's nice and necessary to pay reparations to the Black and Indigenous communities, it's still also important to learn about their history and our history, proper factual history, not the history we're taught in high school usually. So it's very important to learn as much as we can. But I will sign off now. You can send me any questions, messages, song requests that you have. Definitely send me messages. I'll be checking Facebook and everything all day today. But I will sign off now because once I start talking, I have trouble stopping. So we're gonna stop. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day. Bye.